There are a few course settings that you'll want to update for each of your courses. To edit the course settings, when you click on Course Options, you have two choices that take you to two different tabs within the course settings: editing the course info or editing the course settings and privacy. So I'm going to take us to editing the info first. And you'll see that the other tab the other option would have taken me to this tab, Privacy and Course Settings. Inside of Details, there's not a whole lot in here that you need to do. In fact, most people leave this just the way it is, blank. If you want to, though, you can put in a course description, potentially putting in, your room number if you wanted for the location, and designating which days of the week. But again, this section is definitely not necessary. The third tab, Privacy and Course Settings, here there are a few things that we would want to potentially change. Okay, so in this first section of Course Privacy Settings, the course profile that you've created, meaning the course name that came from ProSoft, the section name that potentially you renamed to something more easily identifiable for yourself and for your students, and any details like a course description and location. Those types of pieces of information will be visible to anyone within the organization, meaning anyone in Fort LaBeouf could see all that information. If you wanted to be more specific, you of course could limit it to just the people within your school, but it's not really information that's wrong for anyone to see. The updates, so when you post a course update, who can see that? Right now it's set to where members of the course would see course updates and course materials, which is how we would want it to be. Skipping rosters for a moment, we also want the calendar to be visible for all members of the course. The roster is the one area where there's potential that you might want to change who can see the course roster. What this means is when a course member, meaning a student within that course, signs in to your class, they can see all of the other members within the class. Typically this is not an issue because they see those students in the physical classroom anyway, so they know who's a member of the class. This is one area though where we had some concern from learning support teachers that if a student were learning from home, and if a parent is looking over the student's shoulder while the student is working within Schoology, then the parent would be able to identify what other students are also in that learning support class. So to protect privacy, if you are in a learning support class and you would not want students in the class, you have to be logged in as a student in order to see the other class members. So if you don't want students within the class to be able to see the names of the other students within that class, you could change that to no one. Okay, thus eliminating the concern that a parent might be looking over the student's shoulder and see who else is in that class. Okay, in this section down here, other settings, posting course updates, students do not need to be posting course updates, so I would set that one, if it were me, to just course admins. And the next one down, you know your students best. Do you want them to be able to comment when you post a course update or not? And so if your students are pretty trustworthy, then that may not be an issue. If you feel as though you just want to turn it off so you don't have to worry about it, you certainly can set that to course admins. And then the last one here, editing the discussion responses. Do you want students to be able to go back and to make changes? Maybe they found a typo after they submitted their discussion response. That's what this one is saying. So do you want them to be able to make changes once they submit it? All right, this next section here for parent and visitor settings, this one comes from the district level and you can't make changes to this. Basically, we have it locked down to where when a parent is signed in with that parent account, they don't see anybody in the class. They can't identify names and things of that sort at all. Even if there's, for instance, like a discussion post or things of that sort, they would not see names. When I hover over the question mark, it'll show you that it's going to use that just really generic icon and the word anonymous as far as anything that a parent might potentially see. And so they wouldn't be able to identify who posted that particular comment or question or discussion response. And also we have comments and posts set to where parents can't see any of that as well. Okay, so we've hidden comments and posts, and there's no changes that you can make there basically to protect. We've set this at a district level to protect the privacy of the students. Again, that's when a parent is signed in with their parent account. This one up here was more the idea of the student signed in with the student account and a parent is just looking over their shoulder. Okay. The course view settings, anyone K through 3 is going to have their course theme set to elementary. and anyone 4th grade and up is going to set theirs to secondary. Now you can see here that this will change the view for your students only, no matter whether you're using elementary or secondary view. The way that you as the teacher see things within Schoology and the way that you post things, it does not change at all. You will always see things from what's considered to be the secondary view. When you select secondary view for your students, again that will be grades 4 and up, then we do want your default landing page set to materials, not to updates, please. So by taking them directly to the materials page, then they'll be taken directly into the page that has the folders from the district template. And that would be, for instance, this week's folder, class information, and old work is the other folder that's in there. We'll train students on how to make sure that they check for updates. We don't want them landing on the updates page, so please set that to materials. And of course, saving changes at the bottom if you make any changes there. All right. The other tabs across here, if you need to moderate discussions, this would be where you would find that. And if you accidentally delete something and you want to bring it back, you would find that within your recycling bin here. Okay, so that's all found inside of the settings. Again, to get there, you click on course options, and either picking edit info or editing the privacy and course settings, it's basically going to take you back to the same spot, just different tabs.